I'm beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 252, Aidyn Chronicles, the First Mage. Released in 2001, this game was developed by H2O Entertainment and published by THQ. H2O was an odd studio. They made Tetrisphere, then the new Tetris, and then this? Just an overly ambitious RPG out of nowhere. I hadn't heard of this game before this challenge, but so many people mentioned it to me as the game they wanted to see that I had no choice but to learn about it before playing. I mean, I do enjoy playing RPGs, so I was pretty excited. However, I'd literally never heard of this before in my life. Paper Mario? Obviously know about it. Ogre Battle and Quest 64? Yeah, I never played them, but I'm aware of them. This one was absolutely not in my brain until this challenge. Maybe releasing in the final year of the console was to blame. We shall see what these puzzle devs cooked up with an RPG. Let's get into it. But before we do, I'd like to give a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Displate. Displate has premium metal posters that are easy to show off in your space. Each one is crafted with a consistent size and quality with a printing technique that makes the art pop out really well. My walls have been looking a bit barren lately, so I was glad Displate was able to hook me up with these cool designs from two game series I love, Sonic and Halo. These are really cool looking, I'm so impressed with the quality. Each Displate comes with a magnetic mounting system that takes just seconds to install. No tools required, no holes in the wall. It's actually so easy and it's perfect if you're renting. It also means you can swap them out as you see fit. They have official collections from over 200 fandoms across different kinds of media like games, TV, and movies you love, as well as over 2 million designs across the entire site. There's something there for everyone. So, if you're looking to spice up the design in your home, head to the link in the description or use my QR code and use code BEAST to get 22% off for one Displate, 27% off for two Displates, or 33% off for 3 or more Displates. Thank you again to Displate for sponsoring today's video, and now, let's get into it. Going into the options menu, there was an option for high resolution. Honestly, it doesn't seem to change that much. I turned it on for now. The game has a single player story mode, so that's what we'll be doing to beat this game. It had me enter my name starting as Erromon. Okay, I'll leave it there. I feel weird changing the names of characters in RPGs. We then see a rather lengthy cutscene to start up the story for the game. A chef is in a castle and is apparently being yelled at by a king. It seems he's being told to find Erromon, but no one knows where he is. There's a flashback showing two people sword fighting in a room. The winner is then shown practicing some kind of magic, and books go flying everywhere. It seems he takes a sword and shield from the castle and heads off. This must be Erromon. The chef remembers him leaving, but he has no idea where he is now. A large knight named Sir Abracan runs up, demanding to know where Erromon is. Alas, no one knows. It seems Erromon is a squire, and he's been quite unreliable lately. Erromon put a failed enchantment on the knight's sword. Looks like Erromon is a hot mess. Get it? Because the sword had fire escaping from it? It then cuts to Erromon running through a forest. Well, don't think they're gonna find him in the castle. The chef goes to ask the magician, Rada, if she's seen him around. She doesn't know where he is, but she does know he stole some of her spellbooks and a relic. The chef checks Erromon's room, the most obvious place. However, he's not here either. That guy who was fighting earlier shows up. His name is Prince Sheridan. He informs the chef Erromon is gone to the forest. A local farmer went missing and he wanted to rescue him. And finally we cut to Erromon in the forest looking for Kendall. That must be the farmer. Then I'm finally in control. Immediately there was a treasure chest containing a healing potion. You can view details about items with C down in the menu. This restores endurance and stamina. I can create one by using 3 herbs and having an alchemist level of at least 1. I noticed the game was kind of chugging along, so I swapped back to normal resolution. And nope, it's still chugging. I'll probably get used to it. Walking ahead a bit, I ran into 2 short green dudes. Apparently these are called Mirari. Long story short, Erromon mentions he is looking for Kendall, and they say to be careful. Goblins have been attacking caravans in the woods lately. They come from a place called Talewok south of the river, and they look forward to returning home in Erromon. They aren't much help for finding Kendall, but they do sell us some spice. Pogerol is the king's favorite, and maybe it'll make him less mad at us when we return. Alaron walks away and they mention we better not be in these woods after dark, that he's probably gonna die. I continued walking and I think this game has random encounters? Time for my first battle. I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing here. It seems there's a circle and I can move around as much as I want within it during my turn. Finally, I pressed C down and I got a menu to pop up saying I could perform. Okay, let's try that. Alaron fails to perform. Well, that was awesome. The next time around, Alaron did perform. What did that do? I honestly have no idea, but, well, he did it. Probably some kind of stat buff or something. After that, it was the bat's turn, and it got close enough to attack. He avoided the attack twice in a row. Awesome. My movement circle was really tiny now. I got close enough to attack with A. 22 damage dealt, and the bat was dead. A stats screen popped up saying I gained 75 XP for the win, as well as showing all my stats. It showed me needing several thousand XP to raise any of my stats, so 75 ain't gonna cut it. Another random encounter, this time against a giant rat. That rat portrait is certainly something. The art style in this is so wild compared to basically everything else on this console. It seems the evasion rate is really high. We were just both attacking and missing each other over and over. Eventually I won and the rat gave 150 XP. Okay, let's just keep doubling our XP for 32 battles or so and I'll be max level. Moving forward a bit, someone runs by. Alaron thinks it's Kendall, but nope, that's definitely a ghost. It told me there was a new journal entry. In the pause menu, you can view your journal to kind of get updates on what's happened in the story and to help remember things. Well, this structure certainly looks important. Not sure what it's for yet, though. In this battle, the giant bat decided to flee. It seems if they reach the very edge of the playable area, then they'll run away. Guess I should be able to do that too. I ran into some more Mirari. They were named Gatson and Zurain. They again warned me that this place is dangerous and we shouldn't be here alone. Mirari are protected by magic, but we don't have that luxury. Alaron is like, nah, I know magic. They also say Sir Abrakan says we can't fight very well yet. But then Alaron tells them he's looking for the missing farmer, and they're excited and wish him luck. Man, these dialogue segments are long. The way Alaron walks up a slope is so janky looking. Still better than Skyrim, though. Stumbled upon this house, and it said the lock on the door was beyond Alaron's ability to pick. Ooh, are we gonna have skills in this? But yeah, I had been wandering through these woods for nearly 20 minutes. There were chests all over the place. 5 gemstones. No idea what those are for. Further in, and I was ambushed by a goblin. It said we need to fight immediately. Alaron asks where Kendall is, and they say he's gone. Alaron is suspicious because Kendall's hat is on the ground here, but they keep wanting to fight. More goblins show up and they say this is their turf now. They do mention that she sent them here to meet me, whoever she is. This put me in a battle against 4 goblin poisoners. This seems to be a scripted loss though, as I was knocked out before I even had a turn. Alaron awakens in a building, probably that one from earlier. She says she found us unconscious in the woods and dragged us all the way here, although it wasn't easy. Alaron seems to know about her though, saying she's the witch, and he's heard all kinds of stories about her. She denies being a witch though, and instead claims she's a healer. Alaron says she collects herbs and flowers though, so she must be a witch. Yeah, the logic checks out. She says her name is Oriana, and Alaron remarks that's one of the old names, but then he starts feeling dizzy and passes out. This takes us to a weird dream sequence or something like that. A new woman is here, along with a goblin and some freaky one-eyed creature. They keep saying they want to kill us, but the woman says, don't worry, that means they like me. Alaron remarks how he needs to find the farmer, but she's like, oh, come on. You know that's not the real reason you left. You have your own dreams, and we were just sick and tired of being stuck in that castle. There's some wild plant flame creature thing here all of a sudden saying we should stay here. And then we just randomly wake back up in the building. Talking to Oriana, she says we just collapsed and saw outside this place, like we were having a vision. She thinks the poison the goblins hit me with must have been something special, even beyond her healing abilities. She suggests we go back to the castle and have the wizards investigate. She then said she had some basic spells she could teach us. This took me to a skills menu where I could spend XP to level up. It seems my skills are stealth, troubadour, warrior, wizard, hafted, missile, sword, and shield. This game is strange. She also remarks how Kendall has been dead all along and she hoped I wouldn't notice. Thankfully, the devs were kind here and had Oriana cast a light spell to guide us back to the castle, because my goodness, there's no way I'd find my way there on my own. I ran into those two Mirari again, and they were surprised we met Oriana. They won't tell me anything about how she learned magic, though, which is kind of odd. Okay, so it seems all the magic in this land comes from this species called Mirari, and the humans have adopted it for their own uses. Also, they mentioned that glowing stone thing I found earlier is a fast travel point. That'll come in handy later, I'm sure. Some of the side NPC dialogue in this game has the same energy as the guy in Oblivion talking about a mud crab by the river. Am I anywhere near the castle? Zombies walk the land. Take cover before they find you. Why, thank you. Yeah, that's some good writing right there. Or this guy. What's been going on in the forest? Oh, I heard it was supposed to rain. I see. You just don't get stuff like this anymore. This is gold. Basically, every building in this little village or whatever was completely empty inside. I mean, there were decorations and whatever, but no NPCs or anything to do. They were just kinda there. Sorry, I will not point out every single dialogue, but these are just ridiculous. Am I anywhere near the castle? I saw a chipmunk back on the path a ways. Looked tasty. I see. What in the world are these people talking about? I got in a fight with a goblin and I was super low health. It's in the top right corner, by the way. I couldn't figure out how to use this dang healing potion though. It didn't make any sense. Decided to gamble on it, and well, the goblin killed me. My first death. It shows him dying in that weird dream area we were in earlier. Luckily, you can just save this game whenever you want, and I had saved pretty recently. This woman didn't want to help me because I'm from the castle. She says we're too hoity-toity for her tastes. Okay, that sounds made up. Nope, I looked it up, and it means marked by an air of assumed importance. Huh, learned something new. Man, this guy had even more skills for me to train. Alchemist, diplomat, healer, lore master, mechanic, merchant, ranger, stealth, thief, troubadour, warrior. Jeez, this game is so complex. I figured I'd level up diplomat and lore master. Why? I have no idea. Maybe it'll make the game easier. Also, the colors in this selection screen are a choice. I hate when games do this. Which one am I currently choosing? Both white and yellow seem like they could be it. Finally made it back to the castle and Prince Sheridan and Sir Abracan were outside. There's yet another huge dialogue sequence here. They were just about to head out to look for Aileron and inform us everyone in the castle has been ordered to find him. Even the local farmers were ordered to join the search. Aileron tells Abracan that Kendall is dead and he was ambushed by goblins. They were fearing that monsters were in the woods and want to tell the king. Also, he says how he was rescued by a healer named Oriana, and Abracan seems to be intrigued by her name, but he doesn't comment on it. So I began exploring the rather large castle. Ran into a guard and asked him what it's like to stand a guard. He said it's very boring, just like you. Ouch? You don't have to be so rude, man. I eventually made my way to the throne room and met with the king. He's surprisingly not that upset we left. He does mention how we are poisoned, and it seems to be beyond the skills of Gwernia's healers. Oh, I guess that's the kingdom we're from. We instead need to travel to Erromon, where we will find a Mirari healer who can help. We have a letter to say who we are and why we need help. He mentions we shouldn't go alone this time, so Sir Abracan will come along with us. We can bring 2 other people on the journey. Our choices are our friend Brenna, the apprentice to the wizard Rada, or the alchemist Godric. He says if we return safely from this quest, we will be made a knight. Alright, sounds like we've got our first big goal. Oh, I guess Abracan isn't required to come along. Well, I asked him to join anyway, so we've got our first party member. Rada was saying something about how she wants to help cure her friend Nizan from a Necromancer's curse and can't come along. But then I asked her again, and she asked how I knew that she changed her mind? Yeah, whatever. Welcome to the team. Found this guy Traherne, who I think is another knight. He gave us some starting equipment, as well as a bunch of potions to take with us. And finally, I left the castle where Brenna was waiting outside for me. She was begging to come along and said her thief skills could come in handy. Alright, let's go. Full party. Now it's our first battle with other members. Brenna's damage isn't exactly anything to write home about. Now Abracan, on the other hand, he hit a 31. That's incredible. Rada had 3 spells, but I wasn't sure what any of them did yet. I'm just playing the game here, you know? Looking at the manual, this weakness spell will lower their endurance by 2 for casting it. Endurance is kind of like HP. It's sort of a bonus HP value or something like that. You can run out of endurance and still be alive though. Dang, Actually, Rada whacking people with the staff does pretty good damage. Why is Brenna so weak then? Now that's what I'm talking about. 2700 XP for every party member. I really still had no idea what to level up on people though. Strength seems to be a good choice in any RPG, right? More damage equals good. Came across a house and this appears to be Kendall's wife, Mariona. Yep, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but Kendall is Ken dead. What? That's inappropriate? Well, how about Kendall did not Wendell? Whatever. Goblins killed him. He's gone forever. Didn't get anything from this, but I think I had to do it to progress the story. Then that ghost from before showed up. It was calling me brother, but then it just ran away. The others could see it, but they have no idea what it is either. I was completely lost. Luckily, there's a useful map in the pause menu. We need to go to Erromon, so I should head west. I went back to Oriana, and I swear, this is a 7-minute long dialogue sequence. Essentially, she's freaking out because a sorcerer showed up and was rummaging through her home, demanding answers about something. She's clearly distressed and keeps asking Aileron to make tea every now and then. She then tells me about the 4 schools of magic. First is the elemental school, brought from dragons and the Mirari. Then there's Jundar magic, made by the sun and all the planets. Third is naming magic, created by humans. Finally is the school of necromancy, used to manipulate the dead. This is what the sorcerer was looking for from her. She decides to give me a fire scroll to use on my journey. Finally, she tells us to find Gotson and Zurain, the 2 Mirari we found before, and we need to tell them that Oriana is okay. She finds a letter explaining how to find their home. Okay, I think I made sense of that. I swear, this dialogue sequence reads like absolute nonsense. Like, it made no sense at all. Maybe that's because she's supposed to be panicking and it's supposed to be like that? I don't know. While traveling, you can camp to restore your stats. Every time it shows Aileron going, past the marshmallows. It's kind of like a tent in Final Fantasy, except you can use it infinitely. The downside is you may get ambushed by enemies while camping. Found some guy on a path and Aileron asked him how to get to Erromon. So he begins showing me exactly how he does it in the weirdest way possible. He even mentions that if he runs into a monster, he hides in this particular tree, so we call him an idiot. There were still all kinds of random encounters along the way. Brenna completely died here. The game is a bit weird in that if you are near an enemy, you can barely move at all on your turn. It snowballs into you getting wrecked if they're stronger than you. Apparently, this game has permadeath. If someone in the party dies, that's just it. They're gone forever. So, that's a reset. Man, apparently it's very easy to die. That did 34 damage? Rada has no chance here. What the heck? I'm gonna need to really start paying attention. I used that scroll Oriana gave me on Aileron and he was able to use strength, which naturally raises his strength in battle. I got a longbow as a drop and tried to give it to Brenna. It said she didn't have the minimum PS required to equip that item. What the heck does PS mean? That doesn't line up with any of the skill names. I would guess dexterity, but who knows? I swear, I had been running to this town for nearly 2 hours at this point. I ran into a hobgoblin in a battle, and this thing was strong. Most people just did 1 damage if they even tried to hit it. Abrakan was the only one who could reliably hurt it, but his damage was more than cut in half. I hope this game doesn't become super difficult. Finally though, I reached Erromon. I'm not even exaggerating. That definitely took over 2 hours to get here. Kind of absurd. But here we are in the Mirari city of Erromon. I first walked into the inn and the innkeeper was here. In typical fashion of this game, he waffled on for several minutes. He wanted to yap about a special fungus stew his wife made, full of mold, and we can have as much as we want. I told him I can't eat mold, and he's like, oh, 'cause you're a human? And Aileron is like, no, 'cause I'm poisoned. The innkeeper seems to imply that he gave us a potion to heal it, but nothing really happened, so I don't know. Also, he wants us to eat the mold stew again, but Aileron said, sorry, we've already eaten. There was a library with several books. At the time, I thought the writing was just weird here, but now I think it's because my lore master skill isn't high enough to understand it. That's why there's only partial dialogue here. The books are essentially detailing how the world began with dragons and the Mirari. The Mirari learned magic from dragons, then the humans came after and created their own flair of magic. Also about the schools of magic in the land and the people running them. There were several shops in town, including this one ran by a human. Still not really sure what kinds of things I should be doing combat-wise, but I bought a greatsword for nearly all the gold I had. Probably a bad decision, but whatever. I tried giving Abrakan the greatsword, and again, it said I didn't have the minimum PS required to equip it. What in the world does that mean? physical strength? That does line up. This shop had woodsman's boots for sale, costing 22,000 gold. All they did is raise Ranger by 2? No way that's worth it, right? I had collected 3,800 gold across this entire playthrough so far. However, she could level my Ranger skill, and it said that prevents monster ambushes during camping. Okay, that does sound pretty good. This tree, or whatever the heck this is supposed to be, looks pretty cool, all glowing and whatnot. Found a chest with a trap on it in their village. It said Brenna was able to successfully pick the lock. Well, glad I brought her along after all. Wonder what would have happened if we failed. I got so lost in this place. The entire city is connected by this huge underground tunnel, and my sense of direction does not exist. The game has this neat mini-map in the corner, which certainly helps. Eventually, I found some woman near the water, and apparently she asked me to have dinner with her? I wasn't really listening that well. What does this have to do with advancing the plot? I ended up beyond the city in a snowy area. Yeah, that guy looks super scary. Let me do a quick little save here before we fight. Wouldn't want to lose all that progress, you know? These are ogres. Super weird looking, and they hurt quite a lot. It was super funny because they're so big that they can't get around each other, so the ones in the back were just wasting their movement turns. Maybe that's by design. Fights take so long in this game, by the way. It took over 3 minutes to get to this, but Abrakan died. Well, can't let that happen. He's by far my best character. Finally, I found their palace and spoke with King Soman. Alaron tells him about how Oriana attempted to heal his poison, but it's still there. We ask if the Mirari can help, but Soman says they're dealing with goblins killing their travelers currently and can't spare anyone. We offer to take care of the goblins in exchange for help, and he agrees. Once we've slain the goblin leader, he will set us up with someone named Kradal who can help heal us. So I headed north into those snowy mountains again. Found some kind of hut thing, and inside, a bunch of goblins. This battle arena or whatever this is incredibly dark. Looks like we're fighting in the void. That path was a dead end, so I had to go that other way with the ogres. This time I won by surrounding a single ogre with all 4 of my party members to isolate them. Still a bit scary though. They almost one-shot Brenna. Abrakan leveled up, and I was now able to equip that greatsword. He should be even stronger now, heck yeah. For now, I was mostly raising everyone's stamina and endurance as well as strength. Felt like I needed more HP because everything was hurting so much. This goblin was really weird. If I say the wrong word, then I die. Alaron got it wrong, and the goblin said we die. But then Alaron is like, wait a sec, let me go check with my friends. And he's like, oh, okay. Dialogue in this game is so weird. Anyway, I eventually started fighting, and this was a goblin sergeant. I could not hit this guy no matter what. I think I tried hitting him over 10 times, and every single one missed. Brenna wound up dying, so that's another reset. Okay, Abrakan finally hits. It's just incredibly low accuracy. Am I underleveled? I have no idea. This game has no concept of a tutorial, and the manual is only so helpful. Huh, is this not a cave entrance? It sure looks like one. Why does the path just lead into a wall? Who designed this? Darn goblins. Sometimes the enemies will have reserve fighters because only 4 can be in play at a time. In this particular fight, there are 9 total goblins. This entire battle took 5 minutes. I really wish you could speed the combat up somehow. Oh, guess that's what happens if you fail to pick a lock. No loot, and everyone takes damage. I didn't want whatever's in there anyway. So I'd run into what I think is the boss. There wasn't a cutscene or anything like that. It just kind of starts up. I could not hit these guys no matter what though. Felt like my accuracy chance was like 5%. It was ridiculous. I felt like I was in big trouble. Also weirdly, the amount of enemies you would fight seemed random too. But man, I had no chance in this fight. Maybe I can find somewhere to farm levels and get stronger? I got incredible RNG and there were only 3 enemies this time? I still barely scraped by. I used every single healing potion I had, but I got out. I really don't understand why I'm missing so much. Like, this seems like where I need to be in order to advance the storyline, so I shouldn't be underleveled. I've been fighting every enemy I've come across so far. Oh god. Oh no. That wasn't the boss. This guy is. There's actually dialogue here, and well, we're in for some serious trouble. For one thing, I used all my healing potions I had on that last fight. But also, this fight contains exclusively hobgoblins, and these guys suck. They have a spell that steals your HP, and it can be used from really far away. It's already hard enough for me to hit these things, so the fact they can heal is even worse. I decided I'd go explore and see if I could find somewhere to level up. I can't even kill these wolves either though. What's especially funny with this game is apparently the king at the start tells you there's a way to revive party members. However, they just never implemented the feature. This game is wild. Critical hit? Since when does this game have crits? How have I not seen a single crit until 8 hours in? I'm screwed, aren't I? Maybe I can get offensive spells for Rada or something? They were all multiple times more expensive than my cumulative gold for the entire playthrough though. Okay, at least after like 10 tries I beat the wolves. Beat up some more wolves and now I've leveled up Aileron and Abrakan's sword skill again. It's nearly 30,000 XP to get to level 7. Most battles were giving me a couple thousand or so. The wolves were especially good for XP. One thing I could try is sneaking. If you sneak up behind an enemy, you get an advantage in battle. However, you move at like less than half the speed they do. Genuinely don't see how you're supposed to achieve a sneak attack. How the heck are these guys arching me through rocks? I swear, they all pile up on one party member. To be fair, that is a good strat, but still. This game was driving me crazy at this point. Also, another gripe, the battles are already slow enough, but when there were a lot of enemies in, it would just freeze like this a lot. I kept thinking the game was gonna crash. I started leveling my dexterity because it seems to be what gives me more turns in battle. Well, I went and wandered around the mountain for genuinely nearly 4 hours. There are a bunch of static enemy spawns, so I think this game has finite battles, but it also kind of seems like there's random encounters. I do know you can spam camp to keep finding weak monsters, but anyway, I had leveled up quite a lot. Can I beat the hobgoblins now? I'll take that as a no. Man, I was doing a lot better, but they just do so much damage. It's so wild. I think they were also spamming the spell on each other that raised their defense. Looks like the leader here is named Kitarok. He's got this spell called Crushing Death. Yeah, this game is crushing me due to all the death I'm experiencing. Finally, after like 6 billion tries, I won. I love how the last enemy just ran away. I didn't even realize this until I was making this video, but apparently the reason I was missing so much is this game has a hidden day-night system. Well, it tells you what time it is on screen, but the actual time of day is important. Some characters are weak at night and some are weak in the day. It seems all 4 I have are day characters and I've been grinding the fight at night. I don't see any mention of this in the manual, but maybe that guy at the start of the game was a hint that I shouldn't be out at night? I don't know. Also, it seems certain skills just aren't implemented. I don't know which ones, but yeah. I'm getting this info from comments left on my VOD channel. Apparently there's a small community around this game that really understand how it works, and I'm definitely not one of those people. Kitarok dropped his sword as a reward, so I was using it on Aileron now. Looks pretty cool. This time when I went to camp, there was a bit of a story event. It seems the goblins are getting smarter. Usually they aren't so organized, and Rada thinks they may be under the effects of a spell. They ask Aileron about the poison, and he says he hardly notices he's ill, but he still wants to be healed. Hopefully Kradaw can help him. Rada talks about there being 4 great wizards. Kradaw is one of them, along with Master Bowden from the castle. The third is Ardra, who runs the Wizards Council and oversees the school. However, no one would ever tell her the name of the 4th wizard. Uh-oh, sounds like we've got a villain on our hands. Made my way back to town and, finally, a shop with some healing potions. These are the weakest ones, but whatever. I'll take anything I can get. Had enough gold now to buy a spell. Let's get Rada some magic. You cannot learn this spell as you are of the wrong school. Oh. How do I change schools? Is that even a thing? How was I supposed to know this wasn't gonna work? Ugh, this game is so complex. Well, whatever. I can buy these boots for everyone at least. +2 protection on all party members. Surely that'll help. And this Mirari cloak is another +2 protection for everyone. We're all caped out now. This guy at the inn is Beacon. He is apparently some old legendary knight from our castle. Aileron was popping off at meeting him and asked him to join the party. However, it wouldn't let me get rid of either Brenna nor Rada. Only Abrakan. What the heck? He's by far my strongest party member. No way, dude, you can't join. But I guess this means you run into new party members along the way, which is neat. Alright, let's advance the plot. I went back to the tunnels under the city and had that feast they were talking about earlier. We were introduced to a Mirari mage named Yaraza. She investigated Aileron and said he's full of magic and has the scent of chaos about him. She brought up some ancient dragon named Aluld and said we're unlike anything she has ever seen. She demanded a lock of our hair and a thread from our clothes. Then she was freaking out. She said we need to go see Ardra at the wizard school in Talewok. She'll know what to do with us. After we visited her, we can go to Kradal's Isle and see about being healed of the poison. She gave me a magic stick that should help too. None of this makes sense, but okay, let's go along with it. One good spell I did buy for Rada is Lay on Hands, which is a healing spell. That way I can heal people without needing potions in the future. She can apparently also heal with herbs, of which I had like 100. Dude, these hogs are hurting. Did you know feral hogs are so crazy? I heard this story about a 1,000-pound feral hog named Hogzilla, but I don't think it's real. That's way too big. I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and audio. The graphics are quite good in my opinion. It really looks like a PC game to me rather than an N64 game. Honestly, I feel like this game would have been way more successful if they just threw it on PC, but oh well. However, it runs so bad. The frame rate is just not good at all on an original console. Maybe there's a decomp nowadays or just emulating it, but still. It makes the game feel so slow. The music, on the other hand, is really bad. In an RPG, you need good music. Like, it's a must. A lot of times, this game will just not be playing any music. The stuff it plays in towns is super lacking, like you can barely even know it's there. I don't know, like it's already not an interesting soundtrack, and the fact it's also in an RPG makes it feel even worse. The main song I remember from this game is one of the battle themes. I just kept hearing some guy chant "bald" over and over. Ran into some super weird enemy on the way to Talewok. Apparently, that's the thing from the odd dream Aileron had like 10 hours ago. Killing it gave a journal entry wondering if it's related to the ghost we found back at the castle. Speaking of which, I ran into it again on the path. I had some dialogue, then it put me into a battle with it. It kept saying we were caught in the vortex of the shadow, and we were taking pretty big damage over time. But then after a few turns, it just kicked us out, saying the shadow dissipates? Very strange. Here we are after like an hour and a half of running at Talewok. At least I think it is. The gate wasn't opening though, and I had no idea why. It didn't make any sense. Maybe I missed something? I realized I never spoke to King Soman after killing Kitarok. Probably required. So I started the long journey all the way back to Erromon. Remember that fast travel gate I found at the very start? Yeah, I hadn't found a single other one of those yet, 15 hours in. Like half an hour later, I made it back to Erromon. Turns out the king lied, and he has no clue where Kradaw is. He instead wanted to let me stay at the inn for free as a reward, but Aileron wasn't having any of it. He then mentions the magic school in Talewok where Ardra can help me. You know, exactly what the other person said. It then says we should find Gotzone and Zurain, which I already did. Kinda did things out of order, I guess. Two guys were outside telling me once again to go see Gotzone and Zurain, but more importantly, they said Ardra is one of the greatest wizards in Aidyn. Oh my goodness, they said the thing. So this world is called Aidyn? Let's go, dude. I was a little worried doing those events in the wrong order would break the game or something like that. Finally, we are in the city of Talewok. Okay, this was some seriously weird dialogue. This guy talks about how he used to be an adventurer, and Aileron is like, how did you lose your leg? He claims it was the work of a wild boar. But if you look at him, he clearly has both legs. Is this supposed to be a prosthetic? Or did they just forget to make his character be missing a leg? I don't know. This other guy at the end told us a story of how he went outside the city to gather ingredients for a potion and there were scary creatures. Since we listened to his silly story, he says he will vouch for us at the wizard school. Well, that was easy. I ran onto a hill in the city thinking I was still safe, but oh no, I ran into some terrifying manticores. Yeah, these guys were destroying me. I may have made a mistake. You can flee from fights, but well, I was in a panic here, cause I was taking it head on. This wasn't even close. Guess who didn't save their game? It's me. I didn't save, and now I had to run all the way from Erromon again. It takes like 20 minutes, I swear. Not to mention if you run into a battle on the way, your direction gets changed, which led to me walking the wrong way several times. Okay, that only took forever. It seems like nearly all the buildings in this town are empty like this one. In fact, most buildings in this game are like this. Where are all the people? Made it to the wizard school, and the story starts to get weird. The door warden is out here, and he says we have to pay the price of admission. Abrakan's like, nonsense, we're not paying anything. Stand your ground and demand an entrance. So Abrakan walks up and says he has no need of magic and his true name is secret. Then Rada and Brenna both walk up saying their true name is blank? I don't know. It just literally shows a blank when they say it. So when it's Alaron's turn, he doesn't seem to know what his true name is. The door warden says it's very strange that he doesn't know. So he just says, "Do you have the courage to seek answers?" I said, "Yeah." So he let me in. What the heck is going on in this game anymore? The inside of the wizard school looks pretty cool. Nice pattern here on the floor, and there are multiple floors. I know there's not one here, but suddenly I want a spiral staircase in my house. I think that would be so cool. Going upstairs in this game looks super jank. He's running like I do in my dreams when a murderer is chasing me. This guard wasn't letting anyone in to see Ardra. Wait, I have a special stick though. He's like, "Where did you get that? From Yevraza in Erromon?" He's just freaking out, but I have permission to speak with her now. Here we are, speaking with Ardra. That's certainly an outfit. Got flames on the bottom to make her go faster. She asks Alaron if he knows magic and to show him a spell. Yeah, that seems about right. Did literally nothing. I suppose it impressed her enough though. She tells me in order to be cured of the poison, we need to go to the forest behind the school where the Dryads live. There we will find a root called Amaranth. If we bring her this, she will surely heal us. We also need the grace of Pandora in order to succeed. Whatever or whoever that is. Here we are in the forest. These are the Dryads. Look more like fairies to me. I told her I don't like the look of her eyes, and she got super mad. Now I've got to fight. Uh-oh. Yeah, this was a horrible decision. They were all using AoE spells, and they all got to go before I did. You already know, that's a reset. Okay, do not insult the Dryads. This time I asked if she would take me to Pandora. Apparently that's the queen of the Dryads. I questioned how much she liked Pandora, and that also made her mad. I gotta figure out the correct dialogue sequence, I suppose. This time I asked if Pandora can help me find Amaranth. Now she's asking if I want to make peace with the Dryads. Yes I do. So now Pandora will make herself known to me. At least the Dryads aren't hostile anymore. Which one of these things is Pandora? This one says they only know where poisonous Amaranth is. Are they trying to get me killed? This one had another dialogue tree. I said Ardra sent me, and they were popping off. Is this Pandora? Eventually they told me Amaranth can be found in the northeast part of the forest. Okay, that sounds like a hint. But then they said Pandora would like to see me. This is so confusing. The devs were trolling here. This Dryad is like, quick, say something meaningless and trivial, and I'll say something back. Every NPC in this entire game, except for the ones that progress the story, are meaningless and trivial. Finally, after like 20 minutes of wandering around, there she is. She yaps about how humans are all about war and destruction and stuff, then goes on about ancient dragon quarrels and how the humans in Mirari rose up against them or something like that. She mentioned a naming spell that the humans used. Also, all magic originated from dragons and Jundar, except for the Dryads. Their magic is unique. After 3 minutes of that, it did this cutscene showing close-ups of Alaron and Pandora telling me the Amaranth is to the northeast and she will cast a spell to make it visible. Thankfully, it didn't take that long to find. Just chilling in a random corner. Finally, something easy for once. Back to Pandora I went, and Alaron said thank you. She was like, "That's it? Sing me a song to win me over." Alaron tried his best, but it was quite pathetic. His lyrics were, "Oh Pandora, I admire you so. Let me recount all the ways. 1. You look terrific. 2. You know a lot about the woods. 3, and then she cut him off. She said this was one of the worst things she'd ever heard, and added that Alaron has a voice like rotten melon. I don't know what the heck that is, but it sounds mean. So apparently my troubadour skill isn't high enough to sing to her. Does that mean I need to go level that up to progress? I tried leaving the forest, but a Dryad stops me. He says I can have the Amaranth, but I need to give proper thanks to the queen. Then I just got warped back. What? How am I supposed to level my troubadour skill if I can't even go fight something? It seems they thought of this because there's a Dryad here to train me, and she strongly recommends I improve my troubadour skill. But this requires both gold and XP. Thankfully I had enough to level it twice. But what if I didn't? Am I just softlocked here? Back I go, and this time he had a bit more grace. She was very impressed by his way with words. She then is like, wait, even if you whisper, the other Dryads can hear you. Let's go to this secret grove where we can be more private. Oh god, what kind of game is this turning into? She says Alaron is a wilding, someone who is not bound to the normal plane and can learn all 4 schools of magic. He is the rarest of magical beings, a mage. Oh no, she said the thing. She's like, I hope it doesn't offend you if I flutter so close. Alaron calls her beautiful and says he wishes she could always be near him. And then she like flies through him? Yeah, that happened. She gives me a special amulet that can only be used once to communicate with her to ask for help. She asked to fly through his aura one more time, so whatever. I wish you would, my queen. Yeah, this part is weird. I think there's a scene like that in Baldur's Gate 3 too, right? I haven't played it, but I feel like I remember seeing a clip of a druid and a bear or something like that when it was new. I went back to Ardra and she proceeded with the ritual to heal Alaron. It warped us to that weird place he went to when he passed out at Oriana's house. She said, whatever Alaron sees here is his own doing. Then she noticed the chaos creature nearby and demanded to know why it was there. Alaron was like, dude, I have no idea. Now there's some creepy old dude sitting in a rocking chair just aching or something. This guy is absolutely freaking out. Alaron wants to know who he is, but Ardra won't say. Then she asks to know who truly wounded him. But then the doorkeeper interrupts, cause of course he's here too. Ardra is like, why the heck did you let him in? Don't you see how dangerous he is? May as well bring Oriana here too, cause why not? She says the whole world depends on me, and Ardra must set aside her anger and heal me. It cuts back to the wizard school and she's like, be calm. I said be calm. Reminds me of that scene in Airplane where the person's freaking out and they're like, calm down, get a hold of yourself. And they just keep slapping them. Such a good movie. Anyway, it turns out that healing didn't work. Alaron tells her Pandara called him a wilding, and she says that's a dryad word for someone without a true name. So Alaron is just some fake name or what? Apparently he was never named. Having a true name is vital for human survival. It unites the body and spirit and bonds the spirit to their earthly form. So it seems Alaron has his body and spirit fighting to separate, and that's what he thought this poison was the whole time. He's like, okay then, how about you name me? Apparently it's a simple ceremony for all children, but since he's so old and has been alive for so many years apart from himself, only one person is capable of naming him now. She tells me to go to Port Saiid and get on a boat to find Kradaw at his isle. Isn't that what we were already going to do anyway? She also warns me to not let anyone know who I am. Well, that's going to be easy. I have no name. How can I introduce myself? Oh, and I guess that spirit walking around is Alaron's trying to get away from him? I don't know. But yeah. We're headed to Kradaw to find him and get a name. I got Rada's alchemist skill up a bit, and she can make potions for us now. Those 8 trillion herbs I've picked up are really going to come in handy. But actually, this was so nice to be able to make curing potions. They heal more than most enemies can do in a single hit. Ran into the ghost thing on the road again. It was saying something about how we must piece it back together, and soon I will see it again and better be ready. Okay, buddy, whatever. Wow. A battle against 12 enemies. I wonder how long this fight will take. Let's find out. About 5.5 minutes. Honestly, faster than I was expecting. Came across a guy named Batrin from Port Saiid. He was saying the port is falling apart due to this giant named Arturo blocking the bridge. He won't let anyone pass unless they pay. He wants me to kill him or just make him leave in some fashion. There's a cutscene with whom I assume to be Arturo and some other woman. She says she's got important business in Port Saiid and needs to pass. He's like, but I just saw you steal stuff from a bunch of merchants. She then goes into a spiel about how he only has 2 eyes and there were like 40 merchants there. No way he can watch 40 merchants with just 2 eyes. Then he gets all confused and she just goes in. So then it's our turn. He says he won't let us cross and we're being combative, so we want to fight. Alaron uses logic saying he thinks he's a knight, but a knight would never do this. They'd go out and like rescue a wizard or save a princess or something. We then ask why he's even guarding this bridge, and he says he wants to be a knight, so he thought, what would a knight of Port Saiid do? And he came to the conclusion they'd guard this bridge. But now all the merchants seem to hate him, so he must be doing something wrong. Alaron tells him to go wait at the inn. I also had the option to have him join me, but well, it seems only Abrakan can be replaced, and that ain't happening. You might be wondering, we're pretty far into this video, and I can see the timer on the screen is nearly at 20 hours. Has he really only had one boss fight? Maybe he forgot to mention it or something? Yep, no. Kitarok is the only boss so far. There has not been anything else, just normal old fights, I swear. Looks like Abrakan has reached a max stat. He cannot train dexterity beyond 30. Well, I hadn't really had any trouble with fights since Kitarok, so hopefully it stays that way. Like an hour and a half later, here we are in fabulous Port Saiid. A great seaside town where you'll find many, many empty buildings. That woman from before is at the inn. She can join the party too. Aileron just screams yes as loud as he can for some reason. I really don't know why I couldn't get rid of anyone other than Abracan. It was a bit frustrating because he's the best fighter and I didn't feel confident getting rid of him. She seems super interesting to have in the party though. Aileron is clearly attracted to her and it probably has some funny dialogue. Made my way to the docks and this jester just appeared out of nowhere, interrupting our conversation. He only spoke in rhymes and riddles, and he was saying something about us being in trouble, just like the fourth head wizard. I think this is a typo, but I choose to believe it's intentional. He says he wants to try to be a beard. I hope you can achieve your goals, buddy. Here in this house, I ran into Captain Amon. He said we need a boat to head to Cradal's Isle. He's like, you new around here? There are no boats in Port Saiid. I asked why, and he said the lighthouse is out. The man running it has reportedly gone mad and quit maintaining it. He sent people to the cliffs to repair it, but none of them have returned. So we offered to go fix it if he'll take us to the island in return. Then there was this super weird guy talking about how his wife was killed and he's keeping her bones in the bed over there. Okay. I'm just gonna walk away slowly. And then he's like, if you want to rekindle the lighthouse flame, you've got to go in the caves under Port Saiid. But he advises against it since the Master of Death used to be there. The same person who killed his poor old Kate, who he's now gonna go fetch a blanket for. But then I could walk over and search the bed. Hey, a new weapon. And her skeleton disappeared. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. There was a battle directly in the town now. A wraith. No matter what I tried against this thing, I couldn't hit it. I wasn't sure if this appeared because I robbed Kate's grave or what, but this fight was impossible. I couldn't figure out how to win. Actually, scratch that. That thing I picked up from the bed was called Lightning. I put it on Rada, and oh my god, she can use an offensive magic spell. I don't believe it. And to top it off, it actually damages this thing. We are so back. Now that guy is mad at me for killing the Wraith, and somehow she's back in the bed? Okay, this time I'm really leaving. Took me a while to find, but there was a hidden path near the entrance to town leading through the woods. This went down to the beach, where I suppose this cave everyone is talking about is located. I expected this cave to be some kind of massive dungeon, but it was about the size of someone's house. There was a lighthouse scroll conveniently on the ground near this well or whatever this is. Okay, let's go put it to use. There was also a book referencing a child and impending disaster, but my lore master skill wasn't high enough to fully understand it. Apparently all the head wizards knew something was up, but they weren't making it a priority. Hey look, it's the lighthouse! No wait, there's another battle that's going to take like 5 minutes. Hang on. Okay, so as I was saying, oh my god, why is there another fight? This game takes so long to do anything, I swear. Okay, so now, here's the lighthouse. The door had a trap on it for whatever reason, and going inside there's a third fight. 9 bandits, oh boy. Weirdly, some of these enemies were named Human Bandit. Are there bandits that are other species in this world? Sometimes when you kill all the available enemies, the new ones won't spawn for a while, so you just have to spam through turns until they decide to show up. No idea what causes that. Down in the basement there was a wyvern fight. Also a massive crack in the ground? Oh, I can go down here. Oh dang, this thing is like the king wyvern. The game calls it a Dracovern. Is that supposed to be a boss fight? I don't know anymore. It never even hit me. That had an exit that led to a secret path behind the lighthouse. Ooh, what kind of cool secrets are we gonna find back here? Okay, another cave that probably no one in town knows about. Alright, let's see the spoils of war then. Yeah, no, you already know it was completely empty. And on top of that, it had another exit that just led to the entrance of the lighthouse as a one-way warp. Man, nothing exciting ever happens here. So anyway, I climbed to the top, Aileron spouted some nonsense that I guess was written on the scroll, and the lighthouse came back online. Let's go get ourselves a ship. Amon is at the docks now. He's popping off that the lighthouse is back and is dying to get out to the seas. But not enough that he wants to take me to Cradal's Isle. He's like, I don't know what kind of weird magic you did over at the lighthouse, but something's off about you. Aileron's like, I'll do anything. Let me buy the ship. So he asks for 400 gold. Well, at this point, I had like 250,000 gold, so that's cheap. Now that we own the boat, off we go. There's a couple back at the port saying they forgot to mention the horrific storm to Amon before he left. Then how he would probably want them to own his shop if he doesn't make us back. Are they trying to scam us? Oh, what on earth? There are griffins on the boat. Now this is exciting. Fortunately, I'm significantly leveled up now and I destroyed these things. After the fight, Amon is saying how the storm here is getting way worse. It seems like it came out of nowhere. Must be some kind of black magic. Aileron's like, have no fear. Yaraza gave me a magic stick that will keep us safe. See? It's right there on the helm. Amon is like, that's not the helm, you bilge bug. That's the mast. So it seems like Aileron has no clue what the heck he's doing, and we're doomed. Aileron somehow grabs the branch from up on the mast, though. He also didn't know there would be lightning. All this time, there is no storm visibly happening on screen. It's like we're playing a game of make-believe right now. Anyway, we wash up on an island with a very visible, large skull on it. Amon is like, this island looks harmless to me. Let's go. We've got to repair the boat. The sail, the bow, and the foremast are all damaged. Neither of us have any idea where we are. Apparently, this island isn't on any chart he knows about. Must be the work of the magic or something or other. We decide to explore while Amon fixes the ship. Oh no, there are crab people here. And they're holding weird flags too. Yeah, this ain't no ordinary island. Ran into a new enemy, the Gorgon. Basically, all of the enemies here are those chaos things that Ardra told me to avoid at all costs. So I've been doing a horrible job of that, it seems. There were a ton of fights here. At this point, I had many stats maxed out, so I started raising willpower, which is this game's magic defense. Remember that Dracovern from the lighthouse? Yeah, this fight is against 7 of them. I don't know, dude. This game is all over the place. They hurt so bad, though. I got obliterated here. Definitely need to position my people to where we're all ganging up on a single one. Flowing lava, and we can just walk right beside it. I feel like his toes would be on fire right now. Nearly 25 hours in, and I finally find a second fast travel portal. I actually can't believe it. The first one was right at the start of the game. I couldn't figure out how to make this do anything though, which sounds about right. Maybe it's because we're supposed to be trapped on this island currently? So coming over to this very strange looking altar, we run into a red demon dude who calls himself the Marquis. He says we've made a big mistake coming here. This is the land of depravity and deplorable beasts, and it will soon be my grave. Eventually he wants to fight, and I had the choice to fight or say, no, I'm not ready. So Aileron starts begging for mercy, and he's like, ugh, you're pathetic. This isn't worth my time. And it just warped me back to the boat. Okay, I gotta admit that's pretty good. Let's fight him. Seems like a real boss fight. Oh, he literally one-shot me. Maybe I'm not supposed to fight this guy? Yeah, I'm gonna go some other way. I don't want any trouble, mister. It was just a harmless joke, man. That's all. Instead, I ignored him and climbed further up this island. There's some kind of weird castle with signs and dead people everywhere. There was a dialogue sequence where we wonder why this place seems abandoned, yet so many troops are guarding it. There are inscriptions on the wall saying, "Come to me and I will heal your sickness and restore your birthright." Sounds like this place was made for Aileron. Whatever this place is, it seems we've reached the main part. Yeah, this place is super freaky. I don't know what's going on here. Are those bats on strings? Out of control. Hey, a new enemy down here. Some scorpions. These things were quite strong, and I was not hitting well. It was probably nighttime, but I didn't know about that aspect of the game, remember? This place is so weird. I don't know what's going on here, but it definitely isn't good. There was a teleportation scroll on this lava-filled altar. Who the heck designed this place anyway? I am not the correct school to use any of these spells, makes sense. I don't know what these things were doing to each other, or possibly me. I have no idea how magic works in this game, but I was only hitting ones this entire fight. Genuinely taking like 10 years to kill these guys. They were using a spell called Clumsiness? Maybe that's it? Also, this was like the 3rd time this had happened, but Brenna and Rada stopped getting turns in battle. It only let Abrakan and Aileron go. Yeah, that was like 800 years. World's slowest loss, my god. This dang place was taking so long to get through. It felt different from other places in that the encounters weren't visible on screen. Were they random? I don't know. But this one happened within like 2 steps of the prior one. Okay, I think I finally understand why certain characters couldn't get turns before. It's this Web of Starlight spell. It seems it stops the character, and in this case, all 4 got hit with it. So we couldn't play, and it's a guaranteed game over. Well, ain't that something? Oh god. Oh no. The hobgoblins are back. Well, I mean, I'm like 20 levels higher or something like that now, so surely they won't be an issue. Holy crap. A 3rd portal. And it's not working. Does anything work in this game? My goodness. At least the story is pretty good. Aileron is some fake name. What could his true name be? Who knows? I'm on the edge of my seat here. It's raining portals, because here's a 4th one, and I don't believe it. It works. It takes me outside on the island, you know, the one we found earlier. Maybe that means I finished the dungeon? Let me go see what Amon says. Let's go, the boat is fixed and he's ready to set sail. To Craddoll's Isle we go. Amon seems to think this place is horrible and he wants to leave immediately. Amon has no clue where we are, but that's not important. Let's hit the open seas. There's some pretty good dialogue here where Amon is like, I like the cut of your jib, Aileron. And Aileron's like, Captain? Well, you see, what's a jib? They sneak in these good lines, but just most of it is junk. Of course, there's another horrific storm. I think Aileron is cursed. Well, I'll be a mermaid's maidservant. Well said, Captain Amon. Apparently, Aileron attached Yaraz's stick to the helm correctly this time, and it allowed us safe passage through the storm. Here we are, finally. Craddoll's Isle. Amon will wait on the boat while we go get a name, I suppose. Went into a cave on the island, and there were 2 portals behind this gate, but it said Brenna doesn't have the ability to pick the lock. That doesn't make much sense, though, because I had her skill maxed out at this point. This ruined hut sure looks important. Maybe Craddoll is in here. Nope, it's completely empty. Okay then. It took me a while, but I found an enclosure where there were some sort of chaos enemies building a bonfire. And apparently someone was in trouble behind them. Surely this must be Craddoll. We've got to save him. They seem to recognize Aileron as the guy with no name and try to capture him. Instead, I absolutely kicked their butts. I don't think I had seen this Chaos Mauler enemy until now. Well, this guy does seem to be Craddoll, but he's not looking so hot. Yeah, he's dying. He wants us to take him to a mansion in Talewok to be buried there. But we must speak to Ardra first. He calls us Aileron and we're like, see? We have a name. He's like, no, not your true name. I could name you, but, well, I'm kind of dying here, so not right now. He says our only hope is to see Zarathos of the Jundar in the desert. We need to be careful because these chaos creatures are the work of someone named Ravissat. She will soon send someone named Pokengarat to find us and bring us to her. Apparently, since we're not named, she will gain tremendous power from us. Also, I need to find the other piece of myself and join them. So yeah, the story's getting pretty wild. What does Craddoll do on this island anyway? Just chill at this altar all day meditating? We make it back safely to Port Saiid. Captain Amon says he's too old to be sailing like this, and he thinks he'll be the new person to watch over the lighthouse. That woman who said there was going to be a big storm and took over Amon's business? Yeah, that's never mentioned again. No funny scene of him catching them in the act and hijinks ensue. Nothing. Oh snap, some character development. Brenna asks Aileron which woman he's met that he finds most interesting. She's like, oh, Ardra is very beautiful. And Aileron's like, huh? I never noticed. Lying skill, 10 out of 10. But then he remarks on how he wants to stay friends with Brenna forever since they've been friends since they were young. There was some basic dialogue with Abrakan about being tough to be a knight as well. Then Rada was talking about how unfortunate it is that Craddoll can't name Aileron. I made him say, well, why don't you do it? She's like, are you kidding me? A naming spell calls up all the elemental powers. Air, earth, water, and spirit. All that force will combine and explode right in front of her. She thinks it will kill them both. Aileron insists, come on, just try it. Then she's like, that's a disaster. Please don't ask me again. Uh-oh, I think I blew it. Now I had high enough thief skill to pick the lock in the wizard school. Inside was another portal. And I can't use it. Spoke with Ardra and she says she doesn't want to talk about any of this naming stuff until Craddoll has been mourned fully. She does agree I should head to the desert to meet with the Jundar. I should go to a place called Terminor and speak with a man named Tamberlane at the pub. He knows Ardra and can help. Also, in this journal entry, at the end, it randomly adds, I wonder what it's like to be a dolphin. Do they think like we do? She never mentioned a dolphin, so where the heck did this come from? What is happening in this game? Ran into that guy who hid behind a tree like 80 hours ago, and he's warning us about the bog ahead. It's full of lizard men and zombies. Instead of simply giving us directions to Terminor, he wants to show us his new moves he learned to run away from zombies. Love me a comic relief character in my RPG. Eventually though, he told us to turn around and go west until we hit the coast, and then cross a stone bridge. Off I went to find that stone bridge. Ran into some trolls along the way. These things are super weird looking. I could see this creature walking on its hands and having no feet. Wait, what? I went to check my inventory because I found the first ring of this entire playthrough, but I just have Craddoll's body with me? Why are we carrying it around? Can I go sell it? But I got a ring of healing, which sounded like a good pickup. Actually, wait. I was supposed to bury him at a mansion, right? Maybe I missed something back in Talewok. It seems I was right. Found a rather large house, and Prince Sheridan was waiting here. He asks if we're still poisoned and why we haven't come back to the castle yet. Aileron tells him he was cured, but he still can't come home because he doesn't have a name. Apparently, Sheridan knows all about that and thinks it's a load of baloney. He's like, you really don't believe that, do you? But we assure him we still can't come back yet, and he's like, alright. And then a few steps later, the funeral happened. Basically not too interesting. Master Bowden is here to give the eulogy. He says how it's a huge loss to the world that Cradaw is gone, and he can't believe that Ravissat resorted to methods so foul to achieve her goals. He then gives us words of encouragement, blessing our journey ahead. I'm really glad I noticed that corpse in my inventory, because I bet the next part of the story wouldn't register until I did this. Back we go. Ran into some lizard men along the way, just like a stronger version of a goblin, kind of. None of the fights were giving me trouble now, well, except for that marquee guy. Maybe this game would have made more sense if I knew this was here. 30.5 hours in, and I discover there's a help menu with way more info than what the manual has. Like, this explains all the game's controls, the skills, what they do and how they work. So much info. This is a weird case of where reading the manual actually didn't help, and instead all the info was contained within the game. It still didn't seem to explain how those portals worked, though. Now there are zombies? Did I end up in the bog on accident? That guy did say there would be zombies and lizard men there. There was also a wight in this battle. It was spamming Frozen Doom, which, freezes me. Oh no. Don't use it on all of us and kill me again. Both of these enemies were super tanky, but I was hanging in there by the power of pure being overleveled. There were a bit of dialogue breaks where the characters were talking about the former queen of Gwernia, Boudicca. Apparently she died long ago, and it seems like she did a pretty good job at being a queen. Aileron just remarks how she probably didn't do any fighting though. Weirdo. Whoa! Brenna is suddenly my strongest character? I've never seen anyone hit that high. The shadow appeared along the road again, and it acknowledged the wizard told us we must join. Aileron wondered if it would kill both of them, and the spirit's like, let's find out. I'm not ready yet. Maybe later. Here we are in the city of Terminor. The guards outside were very pleasant. Apparently there is some seriously bad blood between Terminor and Gwernia, and they immediately recognize we're from there. Hopefully these people help me get a name despite our differences. There was a frantic woman in the first part of the city. She said her child was gone and was freaking out. Apparently some magician came to her city and burned it all down and took the children. He was demanding to know about their births and weird stuff like that. It sounds like someone who was looking for Aileron, but yeah, I guess a neighboring town is ruined, so some people are here. Also there was a horse that said Snort. I'll never get away from horses, man. There were like 6 empty buildings in a row. This one at least had a dead cow in the corner, so that's something. Couldn't interact with it. In fact, every single building here except the inn was completely void of any interactable content. I went to the inn and Aileron was telling the people there was a massacre. The city of Pome was burned to the ground, and it was the work of the Necromancer. The innkeeper doesn't believe us, though. But then a woman walks up who I guess is supposed to be gravely injured. She looks completely normal, though. She's raving on about how some monsters showed up, and there was a wizard and a staff, as well as some loud booming drums. Aileron wonders if it was someone named Shamsuck. Is that someone we're supposed to know the name of? And then she just falls over and dies. Well, that was quite weird. Next, Nizan shows up. Remember? He's the guy Rada was trying to cure of the Necromancer's curse and didn't want to come with us at the very start of the game. He talks forever about how he came here from Pome too, and he got out just in time. His entire family was killed by Shamsuck. Okay, I think that's the name of the Necromancer. Apparently, Nizan wants revenge immediately. Shamsuck is building a tower as a shrine to the 4th school of magic in the bog, and he wants us to go destroy it. If we do, he will never be able to recover from it. Abrakan is very against it, but says he will stay by our side no matter what we choose. Then it asked me whether I would go along with Nizan's plan or not. Sure, I guess. This Shamsuck guy seems like a bad dude and should probably be stopped. Nizan says he has a magical ability that will allow us entrance to the tower. It's impossible without him. So, I need to choose who will leave my party in order to bring him along. Uh-oh, I bet it's gonna be Abrakan. But Brenna has been kinda carrying as of late, so maybe it's not so bad? The innkeeper had a story about a huge storm that passed through the city, but more importantly was a madman named Mago who nearly destroyed the entire place. Apparently he was given great magical power due to being wrong, and now he just sits in a rocker all day and is locked up. Aileron really wants to go see him. I think this is that weird guy in the rocking chair from when we were being healed. As expected, I go tell Abrakan to get lost. He said he'll be waiting for me in Talewok when I need him again. Man, Neeson's stats are really good. I wish I could get rid of Rada and have him as my mage instead. Ran into some woman in front of a building, and Brenna and Aileron remarked how she looks a lot like Queen Boadicea used to look. Aileron just walks up to her and asks if she's part of the royal family, and she says she's like the fourth cousin half removed of some aunt or something. I wasn't really listening, but then she just gets mad and tells us to come back later. Don't know how to find her later though because she's gone. Another woman who suspiciously looks identical to the other woman was outside a different building. Aileron said he's here to see Mago, and she told us to get lost because we're foreigners. But then we said Tamberlane sent us, and she's like, well, why didn't you just say so? Come on in. This was a rather large building, even with a shop inside. Several potions on the tables and such. So much world building. I had to go down like 3 basement levels to find him, but there he is. The guy from the weird dream. The woman is saying, oh, are you here to make fun of him like everyone else? Aileron just wants to talk. He's like, he has no true name. She's like, how would you know that? And he says, well, I also have no true name. Mago just starts absolutely freaking out, and the woman's like, oh god, it's happening again. You need to hide. Go somewhere far away where you can do no harm for your own safety. That was super weird. Our first battle with Neeson, and he's got fireball magic. Let's try it out. Whoa, what the heck, buddy? Why are you using it on yourself? And all the rest of my party too? What is wrong with you? Never should have gotten rid of Abrakan. There were some talking trolls near this bridge. They said I have to pay the toll to cross. Ah, the classic trope. How much? 1,000 gold. So I paid, but then they said I lied and decided to fight? Okay, here's how Fireball works. It has a huge red circle showing where it will land. Anyone within that circle will be highlighted, and that means they're being hit. And dang, this does quite good damage too. Not even sure what this was for. There was a huge chair like those ones you see at the beach on the other side. It gave a journal entry saying I defeated the trolls. I don't remember being asked to defeat any though. Made it to the bog and Neeson is saying how he's worried. Ardra showed him a vision of the future and it showed him turning into a zombie. No one has seen any spell like the one the Necromancer performed on him. He was hoping Craddaw knew the cure, but well, that's out of the picture now. But still, even with his fate sealed, he's determined to stop Shamsuck here and now. There was a weird old man with a gigantic beard in the middle of the bog. He demanded we help his daughter or he'll cut our guts out. Okay, where is she? He said she's sinking into the bog, under a log. Been that way for 9 years. Buddy, I don't think she's there anymore. Aileron asks if he's the madman of the bog, and he's like, who told you that? Are you working with Mago? You mean the crazy old guy in the rocking chair? The man goes on about how Mago used to destroy entire cities, but then I think he forgets because he asks what we need, and we tell him we're looking for the Necromancer's tower. Apparently, if I follow the stream of water, I'll eventually run into it. I followed the water, got a journal entry saying I found Shamsuck's tower. But, where the heck is it? I don't see it anywhere around me. This is literally the end of the water and no tower. What on earth? I kept wondering why everyone's health was getting restored after battle. That ring of healing has a perk called photosynthesis. I think it's giving us HP when the sun is out. That's pretty cool, actually. I had bought one for all my characters back in Terminor. God, I got lost for like an hour looking for this thing. This doesn't even look like a tower, but it is some sort of structure. Maybe this is it? A journal entry popped up saying I found Elisheva's tomb. Wait, who is that? The other half of Mago? I can't follow this story anymore, I swear. There were coffins in here with some incomprehensible dialogue inscribed on them. Clearly the works of a madman. Something about opening a human's head and dumping all the knowledge into animals to learn about a new species? Or something like that, I don't know. These plague zombies are massive. Wonder what makes them a plague zombie instead of just a zombie. Is there a disease in Aidyn that makes you huge? There didn't seem to be anything down here except this one battle and all that lore on the coffins. Can I give a quick gripe about the way magic is used in this game? Why does the camera not follow the area I'm wanting to cast on? Like, it kind of does, but it needs to be zoomed out or something. I can't see the full space I'm choosing. Okay, this is ridiculous. It took me an hour and a half to find this thing. Why? Because it's freaking invisible. It just isn't drawn in unless you get close enough. Ugh, whatever. Finally, here's Shamsuck's tower. Oh god. Oh no. Please tell me I didn't miss something I needed before coming here. Why is the door locked? Okay, good. There's a side entrance that takes me somewhere. Am I on the roof? I don't know. But thank goodness I'm inside. I found a black key on the ground. That sounds important. The battle arena in this place is absolutely wild. It doesn't look anything like this when you're walking around, but I guess it does in fights. Going against some stone golems here. They're super tanky, but don't really do anything interesting. Well, it doesn't look the same, but this hallway is sure cool looking. Reminds me of those things where you walk on a bridge and the bridge is stable, but the room itself is spinning and it makes you all disoriented. This place was such a maze. It felt like there was no way to progress inside, so I tried going back down to the ground. I don't know if I missed it or it's impossible, but I couldn't climb back down. We're stuck here forever. Ah, there's a hidden path in the weird scrolly room. No idea how I even noticed that. You barely can see it. What happened here? Lizard Man just fell through the floor trying to flee? I'm glad that didn't like soft lock the game. Oh shoot, there are heckhounds in here. And they've got multiple heads. Actually, these are kinda scary. They have an AoE fire breath attack that hurts pretty bad. The tower is actually quite cool looking on the inside though. If this whole Necromancer thing doesn't work out, Shamsuck could make a killing as an interior designer. Like, look at this place. It looks way cooler than every other area we've been to so far. They must have had big plans for this tower when making the game. It feels like so many parts of this game are unfinished. Whose picture is that on the wall? Am I supposed to know who that is? Maybe it's someone Shamsuck has a crush on. A Minotaur dropped a blood key. This place was so big. I was getting so lost and there were way too many battles here. I think the fighting could be fun in this, but one, it's too slow, and two, it never really introduces anything new throughout the game. The fights feel the same now as they did at the start, just with bigger numbers. Okay, this door looks important. I don't know what the heck is going on anymore. Get me out of here, I'm scared. This tunnel is way too long. I had to run for over a minute to get to the end. Actually, I think this is just a gigantic circle of rainbow wavy stuff. Now I'm just in endless warped hallways with questionable artwork on the walls. Oh man, I had no clue where I was going. Everything looked the same to me, and that minimap wasn't exactly helping. One of these hallways had the doors taking me to other doors in the same hall, but it took me a long time to notice. Okay, this is new. We're in a science lab or something? Surely near the end of this place. Hey, some harpies to fight. That's something new, right? By that, I mean it's something that looks new, but behaves exactly the same as every other enemy. Whoa, what's this manticore just doing chilling in this room? Time to get my revenge from when these things killed me like 20 hours ago, or whenever that was. Oh, another enemy fell off the map. I don't know why this arena in particular is so janky. I think this is like a dormitory area. I think these are beds at least. Every single one of these little rooms had a huge battle inside. There were these rooms with statues, and the camera sure liked zooming into the statue's face. I really wanted to open this chest, but no matter how many times I tried save scumming it, it wouldn't open without triggering the trap. A previous statue room had a cool staff inside, so I was hoping to get this one too. Oh, there we go. Finally got it. Helm of Charisma, huh? +2 Diplomat. Yeah, the Brecklor's Fire Staff sounds way cooler than that. I've discovered a secret door? Oh shoot, that's a big fella in there. Is this a boss fight? The rare boss of the game? Nah, I don't think so. It's just a big normal enemy called Earth Elemental. There just started being fake walls all over the place now. I'm not exaggerating when I say this is one of the most confusing dungeon layouts I've ever experienced. It just felt like everything was looping on itself and I kept warping from these secret doors. Okay, a big ol' altar with a flame on it. Now this looks like the final room. Well, there is a battle here, but nope, just regular old enemies. Nope, nothing special here. Just a really cool looking altar room with no substance other than that fight. Where the heck is Shamsuck? Is this his bedroom? Why does he have a fish skeleton in an aquarium? You know what? Actually, this is kind of on brand for this place. Wait. This is a fake wall? A bone key in a chest? Okay, maybe something I couldn't open before will now work and we fight the boss and beat the game and get out of here? Yeah, I know, it's not realistic. Okay, why does he have a toilet in his bedroom? And why is it facing the bed? There is no way. This game is not real. This is all a big hallucination. Went back to the Rainbow Wavy Hall and oh my goodness. I was just absolutely mashing the action button and I find a hidden door? Please, let this lead to the end. There's another one! Oh no, how many of these have I missed? Are any of them even required? Alright, a central chamber with a big skull above the door frame. This has gotta be it. There's no way this isn't the end. Well, there's a battle in here, but it's just wolves and a white. Tell me this is nothing. Tell me this wavy beam of energy is nothing. Come on, man. Warp me to Shamsuck or something. Let me out. Here we go. Yet another secret door, and a cutscene was playing. This is it, the big one. So Neeson starts talking about how we're probably the first people in the world to see this part of the tower. He's saying the curse of the Necromancer feels stronger here. He can feel Shamsuck watching him in the walls. He knows he's going to die here. We try to get him to calm down, but then a Fire Lord shows up. Neeson says he's the only one who can kill it, if he can just remember the spell that works against them. Wait. What do you mean, remember? You might have forgotten? He then goes up the stairs in the slowest way possible in order to sacrifice himself to save us. Check out this high-octane, energy-fueled fight happening here. Neeson is a beast. But then he just falls over and dies. Dang. The Jester is here now? Did you finally become a beard? He tells us his name. It's Ferris. Alright, Ferris, what's going on here? He tells me Shamsuck is back in Gwernia, and he's going to visit Oriana. Alaron is like, what? You're coming with me to save her. Well, guess he's in the party now. Apparently he's got max stats, which is awesome. Maybe I won't go get Abracam back. Oh wow, this portal. Yep. It takes me back to the one I found at the very start of the game in the forest near Gwernia. I guess it's active now. There's a bunch of dialogue here with Alaron and Rada about how necromancers can't be fought. No one has ever dared to challenge them. Even the head wizards wouldn't try that. Alaron is like, well, we destroyed his tower, didn't we? Wait, we did? I don't remember that happening, but sure. Rada definitely doesn't want to fight, but it seems like she's going to go along with it. Ferris comes by and starts yapping about how we did what we could to save the healer. Alaron is like, would you quit talking like that? He's like, talk like what? Stop rhyming all the time. Ferris freaks out and then begins talking like a normal person. He says he did a card reading for Shamsuck and he's been after Oriana for a long time. And he did a reading for Oriana as well, and she's very special. Alaron is like, you're full of it. So we go to her hut. I suppose this is Shamsuck. Not exactly what I expected. We've got a 6-minute dialogue spree here. Shamsuck is like, finally, I found you again. Alaron's like, your necromancer days are over, buddy. We even destroyed your tower in the bog. He's like, what? That's impossible. That's right. We destroyed it and killed all the monsters inside. He's like, do you realize what you've done? You're only making her stronger. Alaron's like, what do you mean? Apparently, Shamsuck went to all the head wizards asking about a child with no name, but they all told him no such child existed. He knows Rabasset is going to use Alaron to destroy the entire world. If we join up with him, we can take her down together. Alaron's not having any of it, then asks to see Oriana. Shamsuck is like, oh, her? She wouldn't quit rambling, so I had to bring it to an end. That's right, she's dead. And on top of that, she was Alaron's mother this whole time? She lost track of him at the naming ceremony when he was young because she's so careless. Well, only one way to settle this. We've got to kill Shamsuck. Ferris is in our party, like I said, and wow, he really flips around the arena like that, huh? This guy's crazy. Oh, he is super strong. Yeah, I'm not bringing Abracam back. You may think Shamsuck has some super cool spells or something, but no, he just whacks me with his staff. Basically the same as any other enemy, just with a different look. Well, he does have one unique thing about him. He T-poses when he dies. I'm pretty sure nobody else has done that before. I won, and what a twist! Ferris takes Shamsuck's secret weapon for himself. He's talking about how with him out of the picture, Rabasset will enter this plane and pursue Alaron with everything she's got. No one here is brave enough to face her. With no one to protect him, Ferris feels he needs this special staff to keep himself safe. Dang it, Ferris. Well, Abrakan's still here, right? So I went to that portal again and the spirit appeared. He's talking about how Ravissat's minions are everywhere and they're trying to destroy the both of us. Also, something about that Ugarit person again. He says how the Necromancer's staff is not of this world and it must be destroyed. Ferris is not helping either side, only looking out for himself. He's kind of like a chaotic neutral. Then he says we must join. Still no idea how to do that, so whatever. Huh, that tower really is destroyed. Weren't there 2 portals in that central room? Guess I'll never know what the other one did. Spent like half an hour walking back to Talewok. Good ol' Abrakan. Welcome back, buddy. Definitely didn't talk about replacing you with a weird jester or anything. But now I wasn't really sure where to go next. Tried heading to Terminor to see if there was a story event at Mago, but nope, nothing. Great. Maybe go back to the castle in Gwernia? I went to the bog to find the portal back there, which was a terrible idea. I had been lost for over an hour looking for it now. A big time sink was all the battles. You can flee from them, sure. Problem is, you physically flee backwards. So you lose the movement progress, and the enemies are still there anyway. After finally getting there, no one was in the castle. That's just amazing. Where the heck do I go then? Maybe the only town on the map I haven't visited yet? It's called Ugarit in the far south. Okay, finally some progress. Ferris ran into me along the way there. He's taunting us and Aileron is like, give me back that staff. Wait, is Aileron holding a spear in this? Why? Where did that come from? Ferris goes on about a big story about how there was an ancient battle here between the Jundar and humans. Zaratos led the Jundar with Ruga close behind. The humans were led by the King Lear of Gwernia, so he had an elite group of humans study all the magic in the world and created the first Council of Magic. They learned the secrets of naming magic and the power of having a true name. King Lear knew this was the only skill that could match the Jundar's might. Wait, he is holding a spear. Is this just a forced weapon in this cutscene? It's so bizarre. Anyway, Ferris seems to imply that Aileron knows this story deep within himself. Aileron denies it, but then he starts spouting off exactly what happened. There was a chariot with horses flying into the sun. Ruga flew away. I think that's a dragon? This part is incredibly weird. I mean, a lot of this game is, but this part especially. I think Ferris is using the staff to send Aileron's mind back through the ghosts of time to relive the battle that happened here. It's implied that Aileron was there fighting with a spear. There were 1 million Jundar and only 40,000 humans. Somehow, though, the humans won? Aileron did some kind of spell and picked up a horn that he blew into. I think that's it. Aileron gets out of the trance or whatever and demands to have the staff. Ferris is like, you'll never have it. I like to think if this had voice acting, he'd always have a dumb laugh, like, Anyway, it sounds like Aileron is a descendant of some ancient warrior, or reincarnated? I don't know. A little bit further and we're wondering how we're going to cross the desert. We learn a little about the Jundar people we're heading to meet. They were defeated by the humans long ago and they made a deal with Ravissat that let them continue sticking around. But now they're stuck in this area past the desert. There's a gate keeping them in there and we'll need to pass through. The original ruler of the Jundar, Zaratos, is still there. We hope we can just approach confidently and they will want to know why we're here. Of course, we've got to solve the riddle first. Apparently we can't cross the gate without solving a riddle. Thought we were supposed to be crossing a desert? This looks more like a mountain. Yeah, whatever. Don't question it. Meanwhile, Ferris appears to be struggling with his new role as a necromancer. The zombies appear to not be listening to him. They just keep saying, kill, 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 eat, eat, die, die. He's like, when the planes collide, don't you want to be on the winning side? Now listen to me. He decides he's fed up with being a necromancer and wants to take a break. The necromancer is closed, he says. Go on and go somewhere else now. I feel like he's going to cause something bad to happen soon. Ah, this must be the gate they were talking about. I didn't expect it to be a living thing. Apparently this is where I'm supposed to use that amulet to speak to Pandora, but I chose not to for some reason. If I get the riddle incorrect, I die. What gift must I possess to pass? It's light as air, as heavy as the world. It's more than an object, it is not a thought. The gift is both a weapon and a shield. Without it, I will walk in darkness. Without it, I will not find my way. It can be my greatest joy or my truest regret. It's mine and mine alone, and is always with me. Apparently, the answer is myself. Not sure how that lines up, but whatever. Myself is definitely not light as air. But anyway, I'm now allowed passage to Ugarit. Now this looks like a desert. I guess there was an implied mountain crossing before the desert. That's my bad. There's some dialogue here about how we wonder why this place is so barren. 'Cause it's a desert? But we think Zarathos has lost control of this place and wants it back. That's why he will help Aileron. In order to reclaim this land, he will help us in return. That's what the Mirari guy said ages ago too. And he just flat out scammed us, but sure, let's see what he has to say. That must be Ugarit over there. Looks kinda like the Al Bhed home in Final Fantasy X. Here I am speaking to my first Jundar. They say there is trouble in Ugarit. The wizards here say that evil has been rising. There have been strangers appearing here causing mischief, and their weather has been going wild lately. Looks like this is a job for Aileron and the gang. Is this like a clothes shop? There's no one in here and nothing to interact with. About on par with the rest of the game. There was also a weapon and shield shop, both empty. The innkeeper is wondering why we're not in shackles and we don't have a Jundar handler following us. Apparently it's not normal at all to see humans here. He curses us for turning the lush rainforest into a dry desert and trapping them here. So it sounds like the Jundar used to be some all-powerful race until that battle we heard about before. That's a strange looking bed. This place does seem kind of fancy though. The Jundar have it made, except the whole being locked in a desert thing. One of the buildings had a cave underneath. Leaving, I saw a giant green gemstone below a building. Is that the Master Emerald? Are we gonna see Knuckles soon? This black crystal's pretty cool looking. It seems like there was a lot of potential for this city, but I swear, it's just completely empty other than the decorations. Hey, an actual shop. The Sword of Might for 52,000 gold? I essentially have infinite money at this point in the game. Why not buy that for everyone? This building had some cool looking pink and purple portals. I don't know why this shop is located in what appears to be a symphony happening within the Vegas sphere, but at least someone is here at all. This building's super cool looking too. How in the world did the Jundar manage to get destroyed so badly by the humans that they had to be locked here? They seem so advanced. Here we are at the Jundar Palace. The guard to the throne room said he knows of me. He's heard we crossed the desert and passed the gate, as well as destroyed the Necromancer's tower. We tell him we need to speak with Zarathos immediately, and he asks why he should trust us. Aileron tells him he knows of their past struggles and losses, and things will get much worse if the king can't help him. He asks what our name is, and Aileron is like, "You think I know that?" So then he lets us through? Okay. Emperor Zarathos, here he is. Aileron tries flattery on him, saying the stars on the walls look really cool. I mean, they do, but that's not enough, buddy. We tell him we've achieved many things, but there is one thing we cannot do. Aileron needs a name and he wants Zarathos to give it to him. Yeah, he wasn't having any of it. He's furious we came into the city without a name. He will not do it. In fact, he says he can't do it. He thinks the humans are stupid for letting their master name her die. Well, I didn't exactly have a choice in the matter, but okay. Apparently now the only one who can do it is Ruga, the dragon. Man, we are on quite the wild goose chase on getting this name. Can't he just name himself like Fred or something? We ask where Ruga is, and of course he won't tell us unless we answer a riddle. The thing that ties you to yourself ties you to 3 worlds. Which are they? Aileron is like, psh, that's easy. Your soul would bind you to yourself. It would tie you to your body in this world and to the spirit on the magic plane. Zarathos is like, bah, but that's only 2. What is the 3rd? So Aileron says your soul would bind you to all others in a realm beyond these 2. Zarathos is like, that's such a typical human answer. He wants us to go because we're putting everyone here in danger. Well, we want to know where Ruga is, so we're not leaving till you tell us. He inevitably gives in and tells us. We need the golden horn. The dragon is held to the Kainon relic. When we play the horn, Ruga will grant our request. We need to head west. The horn is in the barrow, across the desert and beyond. We'll eventually see a stoneworks on the horizon. There we should approach the hill. We need to go underground at the barrow and make note of the 7. Be sure to destroy the Lugash, and the horn will sense when we are near. Apparently, there's a legend that an undead king guards everything there. There's also a human named Shole in the canyon who can help us out. What in the world is this guy talking about? Whatever. Let's just go, I guess. Here's the barrow. Basically a big old mound with a bunch of holes on it. I wonder if the barrows in RuneScape copied from this game. Whoa, what? This rock is just lifting itself out of the ground. Some kind of obelisk in there or something. Didn't realize this was going to take me underground, but sure. Alright, let's look for those 7 guardian spirits or whatever. I once again had no clue where to go. This underground area was yet another massive maze where the walls kinda look like cheese graters. It looks like this place is entirely man-made, or I guess Jundar made in this case. Everything is cut so evenly. Found an exit. That's a freaky looking worm. I'm gonna go back inside. Whatever. Let's go fight them. They have a ton of HP. I had max stats and everything at this point, and I feel like these swords are super good. Maybe these are supposed to take forever to kill? Who knows? Dude, check out the picture for these salamanders. Now that's cool looking. I wasn't really sure if I needed to be out in the desert here or something in that underground area. Walking on some random spot, it triggered a cutscene. A wight named Beruz demanded to know who disturbed his resting place. He says if we can best him in combat, we will earn the helm of the Spirit Drake. Is this one of the 7? That was no different than a normal old enemy. Easy. Next, Dead Guy asks what trickery we used to defeat his comrade. Aileron is really like, a little thing called skill? Duh. So essentially, there are 7 rocks on the surface of the barrow. Each one has a unique red symbol next to it. After raising a rock, I have to go inside and find that symbol to fight one of the 7. You can only raise 1 rock at a time though, so it takes a while. Kinda funny how these are supposed to be ancient guardians, feared by all, and Aileron just one-shots them. Oh, I see. I'm supposed to be taking all these cool weapons and armor they're giving me and depositing them into these things on the wall. I guess that's supposed to be a dragon's mouth? Why does the last one just say V005? What is that supposed to mean? Oh snap, he didn't die in 1 hit. That's why they saved him for last. So, I put all the treasures back in the mouths, and there is some new dead guy standing up here. He says he knows we've come to take the Kainon treasure, but we will never have the horn. He wants to bring back the rise of the Jundar people. And then he just disappears? I thought this was about to be a boss battle. That was really odd. Oh, okay, he's still here. Guess I had to pick the right dialogue option. Okay, now we've got a fight on our hands. Uh-oh, this isn't good. Every single attack I was doing was missing. Usually I have to use magic weapons to hit, but it wasn't working. Guess I'm allowed to run from this battle? Whew, that was a close one. I hadn't saved in a really long time. No matter what I tried, I couldn't hit him. He did mention I don't have the magic of the King's Blade, so maybe this is a puzzle fight? Magic from Rada wasn't hitting either though. I went back to the King to see if there was anything I missed or a hint or something, but nope, he's just gone forever. Well, that's cool. What if you forgot what he said? Thankfully, I could look back on my footage. I wandered around the desert for an hour and eventually ran into some old blind man. He says a Jundar woman named Shole takes care of him here. She wants to learn more about humans, and in exchange, she gives him food and herbs and reads to him. Aileron tells him he needs help reaching the Horn of Kainon. He's like, why do you need that? I told him I have no true name, and he's like, ah, it's happening again. He asks if there is a shadow that has been following me around, and I'm like, yes. He agrees to help with the shadow, and Aileron is like, thank you, Fiercil. What? He never told me his name. How did Aileron know that? He tells me to retrieve the horn, I will need the Sword of Lodin. It's in the ruins of Maxen at the end of this canyon. Apparently Zarathos told us not to go there, so maybe he's hoping we'll die out here. He says we will never get that horn without the sword, though it may be guarded. Plus, we need to find the hidden door and retrieve the key. Also a second hidden door. Okay, some direction on where to go at last. I suppose these are the ruins of Maxen. Let's do this. I quite like this fog effect they have going on the floor here. I wonder how much processing power that's taking up. Oh god. Oh no. My entire party got frozen by a random old fight, and that's game over. I hadn't saved in so long. Come on, man. No, wait, there was a treasure chest in here, and I saved to make sure I opened it before picking the lock. Let's go. Lodin's Key. That sounds like the key Fiercil was telling me about. Hopefully this is a short dungeon. Used the key and ran into a ghost. It's the old King Lear, and he's acting like it's still time to go into battle. Aileron is like, dude, this is several hundred years in the future, buddy. But King Lear still wants to fight, so Aileron suggests he wears his armor and brings the Sword of Lodin. The king admits he's very tired, and he's not sure if he can ride into battle today. So Aileron offers to use the sword to defeat the Jundar for him. Ha, easy as pie. Alright, let's go kill that other ghost. There was a Chaos Troop that talked to me. Haven't seen this one before. I asked him where the Jester is, and he said he's too smart to pass this way. Huh, weird. It was just a normal old fight. There was a second fight, and that person the blind guy was talking about, Sholle, was on my team now. What in the world is happening? This must be the highest level of Chaos troops, the Chaos Major. Still getting wrecked all the same. Wait, I almost didn't even notice this. Nothing happens from this fight. You'd think there was some kind of cutscene about who she is, why she joined us in a fight, but nope, nothing. You know what, whatever, let's just keep going. Back to the guy in the barrows, apparently his name is Lugash. Now he acknowledges we have the King's Sword. Ah, there we go. First time of the entire playthrough I needed a specific weapon to progress. You know, nearly 50 hours in. Well, I won. Where's my horn? It took like 10 minutes to find it in a random hidden alcove. Alright, so now we can go call for Ruga? Okay, heading back to Zarathos to find out where Ruga is. He talks for ages about how he hopes we can conquer chaos. Alaron asks if he made a deal with Ravissat, and it was true. In the past, he wanted to work with Ravissat to have one kingdom, the Jundar kingdom, where he would rule over all. Jeez, can't see how that one didn't work out for you. Apparently in the past, the Jundar knew they could use the horn to call on Ruga to come to their aid. But in that battle hundreds of years ago, someone else blew the horn declaring victory. Except it wasn't victory at all. The Jundar were being destroyed and they knew someone else was manipulating it. Ruga never came to help them. They haven't seen him since those days. Just pointing out how some of this dialogue makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Do not let you need create you small, but let your lack give courage. Am I just dumb and I don't know what he's trying to say? This is nonsensical to you all too, right? Anyway, apparently Ruga is in a cave deep within Erromon. We need to head there, blow the horn, and ask him to name us. Hopefully it goes well and no unexpected things happen. Oh yeah, we're headed to Erromon, right? That was near the start of the game, and I'm all the way here in Ugarit, on the opposite end of the map. Wonder how long it will take to get there. Oh, I forgot about the shadow. Sure, let's try joining? It put us in a battle like before, but this time I had Alaron run into the shadow. It showed a cutscene with a bunch of lightning going all over the place, and they both got right next to each other. They both yelled, "I am Alaron!" We then see what I assume is baby Alaron with Oriana holding him. Kradaw is here too, ready to give him his true name. But then some goblins storm in and throw an axe at these two people standing nearby. So this is how Alaron was unable to get named back in the day. Getting poisoned at the start of the game was him remembering this, I think. And then finally they yelled at each other some more, then fused into a single being. We awaken with Brenna standing over us. Apparently the shadow is fully inside him now, and he feels more ready than ever to take on this final quest. In case you were wondering, it took around an hour to reach here. Apparently Yaraza is waiting for me underground. Let's do this. There was a large double door where Yaraza was standing in front of. We had our greetings and Alaron is like, "Listen, I've gotten super strong since we last spoke and I know what power I'm capable of. You better help me." Yaraza is like, "The Mirari are a peaceful people, but if you threaten us, the earth itself will harm you." Alaron tells her he knows about a door within the heart of a mountain and he needs help getting there. Yaraza says she knows what he's talking about. It's from a long ago era that the Mirari have tried to forget. She will help him to the door, but she will not go past the second door under any circumstances. Oh yeah, we get a dialogue choice. "You will do as you're told, old woman." Yeah, that'll show her. She's like, "Wow, guess you've forgotten about our friendship." The Mirari do not respond well to bullying. Well, she opened the door regardless. Made it through the second door and there are a bunch of Mirari in here? I thought they said this place was sealed off. They tell me to turn back. Ruga has lost the will to live. They bring him food and water, but he just sits there all day. Alaron informs them he has the Horn of Kainon and they're like, "That's impossible." So then Alaron gets violent. He's like, "Let me in or else." Or else what? Well, I don't have a true name. Without one, I'll die. And dying men do wild things. They're like, "Are you threatening us?" He's like, "Maybe I am, maybe I'm not." So they tell me to go in, but hope the dragon kills me. There were several tough battles down here, but I was still completely overleveled. Somehow this platform warped me into a room where I presume this is Ruga. He asks why we're here, and Alaron tells him we're on a quest, and only he can fulfill our wish. He tells me to play the horn, but be gentle. His ears have become tender with age. He says I'm the one who played at Darkling Hills. I guess that's where that battle was in the past. This is so weird. So we're like some reincarnation of some ancient warrior or something like that? We then see a cutscene where Alaron is holding up the horn in front of Ruga. The entire arena is engulfed in flames. It's going nuts here. Alaron demands he give him a name. Ruga is like, you know who you are. You are the child of dragons. Now say your name. And then he just yells, Alaron! 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 Wait, so our true name is just Alaron, the name we've been saying this entire time? Everyone asks if we saw the dragon and if he gave us a name. Alaron is like, a name is all of you, everything about yourself. I am me. I am myself. So this entire quest was pointless? Well, guess we'll head back to the castle and tell the king we finished. I left the dragon's chamber and Yaraza and other Mirai are waiting outside. They said they cast a spell to prevent me from coming back without a true name. They ask if Ruga gave us a name and Alaron says, yep, yeah, he sure did. You know, the name we've had this entire game, but whatever. What were you saying? Apparently they have things to remember our mother by all around the city. But the forces of chaos are gathering outside Gwernia. It appears they are going for one final assault. It asked me if I want to choose Erromon or Gwernia, so I picked Erromon just to see what happens. Spoiler, nothing happened. I'm not sure if this is just content they never added or what. So I headed back to Gwernia. Made it to the castle and the chef is right at the entrance, absolutely freaking out. Enemies have been spawning from the walls, so many people are dead. The king is fighting on top of the castle, so we're going to try to help him. On the roof, and there are a bunch of chaos troops here. Chaos majors, chaos lieutenants, chaos soldiers. This is a disaster. All my party members were hitting like 20s on these things, but Alaron still hit super high. I think he got stronger from merging with his shadow, or maybe from getting his true name? I don't know. Wait, what the heck? That's Marquis from that weird island. No cutscene or anything, he just appeared in this random fight. I won. Guess this proves I'm way stronger than 30 hours ago or whenever that was. I've lost track of time. Prince Sheridan was chilling up here. Out of nowhere, he seems to have a huge grudge against us, bringing up how we are the favored child and the king only brought us in because he felt sorry for us. Tired of Brenna fawning over me, tired of Abrakan looking up to me, tired of the chef giving me cookies in the kitchen. Wait, what? We ask where the king is, and apparently Sheridan gave him over to Chaos to gain power. Also, it seems King Phelan had a child with Oriana, and that child was Alaron. Then we just get in a fight. Easy win, baby. Not sure why he just blew up like that. Maybe there were some side quests I missed or something. Now that plant thing from the dream like 50 hours ago is here. It's saying it's the Mistress of Chaos. We ruined ourselves by obtaining a name. We could have burned this world to ashes together. Now it must be destroyed. Oh, this is Ugarit. I've seen that name a few times. Oh geez, this is really hurting. And it's an AoE spell? This could be bad. I was struggling to out-heal this attack. Like, it did ridiculous damage compared to literally everything else I fought so far. My characters all had max stats, so this is not good. Okay, good. She decided to use a regular attack instead of a magic one. That was a close call. I was nervous this game was just going to wall me at the very end. We get a cutscene where it seems Alaron is absolutely bloodthirsty. He's like, come out, I'll kill every single one of you. The rest of the party's like, dude, they're gone, it's over. The king is dying, go see him. So we walk over to King Phelan and wow, this isn't good. What the heck? His leg is gone. I didn't expect something that rough. He's like, I have one huge regret in my life and I need to get it fixed in my final moments. I had an affair with Oriana, and you are my child from her. I loved her so. Please, tell her she can have all the riches in the kingdom and this all belongs to her. Yeah, sure, buddy. I'll go tell her. Shut up! Don't tell him she's dead. Come on, dude. He asks Rada to have him buried near a wall somewhere and to have Ardra oversee the ceremony. Alaron will take the crown and become the new king of Gwernia. We see a cutscene where Ardra is addressing the crowd, saying the conflict has ended and peace has been restored to the lands. The new king of Gwernia is before us. The crown is presented and put to Alaron's head. Woo! Happy ending. And then Oriana's ghost appears. She's like, I'm so proud of you, son, then disappears. And finally, the credits roll. Wow, 53 hours. What a long game. The fourth longest game we've played in this entire challenge. One final thing, if you make your name !balloon, you get Big Head mode. Can you believe it? This game has Big Head mode. Oh wait, a second cheat. If you make your name Keep Busy, it will say, for further information, enter the following cheat. I'm a doofus. Then, if you set your name to that, it says, for further information, enter the following cheat. Keep Busy. Ah, the classic prank. But yeah, that's about all there is for this one. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it. My journey to beating Aidyn Chronicles the First Mage. My goodness, what a fever dream of a game that was. It kind of feels like I just played Baldur's Gate 0. Like, there are a lot of neat ideas here with all the different skills and classes. It felt like magic was just not implemented in a good way. I don't know. I wonder how many people wrote dialogue for this game, because some parts of the story were quite interesting, and there are some real gems in the NPC dialogue. But man, most of it just felt boring and slogged along. Also, could they really not have given more fast travel options? The portal appears within like 20 minutes, but then you don't get to use them basically ever? The battles were incredibly boring as well. No real animations for things, AoE spells were really just using a spell multiple times in a row. And the performance issues. This game runs so poorly. I feel like if this game were on PC or maybe just on the GameCube instead, it would have been significantly better. It also just feels like so much of the game is unfinished. From what I hear, they ran out of time and were just told to ship what they had. Wait, I'm just noticing this as I read this. What happened with the Jester? Like, he just never was addressed again. I don't know. Where did the Jester go? Is it a bad game? No, I don't think so. But I don't think it's a good game either. The music was bad in my opinion though. I really did not like any of it. Also, why the heck was his true name just Erromon? That felt like such a letdown. Ugh. Anyway, I've kept you here long enough. I gave Aidyn Chronicles the First Mage a 3 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 5 out of 10 for difficulty. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We had a randomized marble race to determine which game was next, so here's how that played out. Or skip to the timestamp on screen to skip straight to the game selection. Alright, sure. Adorable Soft Office. We got 138 games on the list. Plenty of games like WWF No Mercy and GKO Powerful Pro Yaku 2001 and Armorines Project Swarm, whatever that is. But only one can win. 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, here we go. We're in the food-themed pachinko machine. And who's going to come out first? We got Tom and Jerry and Fists of Fury, the early leader, coming in, and Yoshi's Story as well getting launched. But it's actually Rakuga Kids, but gets hit by the block, and now A Bug's Life takes the lead. And gets past the cone, but gets held up a bit. As Yoshi's Story sneaks through unfazed, Yoshi's Story doesn't bonk whatsoever. Now Yoshi's Story is in the lead. Yoshi's Story followed by A Bug's Life coming down the second tunnel and through the cannon. Yoshi's Story hits the bumper, and A Bug's Life might take the lead off of that. However, there's a lot of cubes to hold them up here. It's Yoshi's Story and A Bug's Life. Yoshi's Story is in the lead by a bit. And Yoshi's Story sneaks out from the wreckage, but has very low speed. Will anybody catch up? A Bug's Life is right behind. And we got A Bug's Life getting a favorable launch down that too, but it's actually Nushitsuri 64, the sequel Japanese fishing RPG. That would be a lovely follow-up. And Yoshi's Story surges forward into the Tunnel of Doom now. Getting past the pegs, 007 The World is not enough in there as well. But Yoshi's Story still hanging on. We got Space Invaders and Automobile Lamborghini right behind, but Yoshi's Story coming into the maze. This is the final obstacle. Can Yoshi's Story hold on and escape this maze? And it's Space Invaders and Automobile Lamborghini coming into the goal, and it looks like it's Space Invaders. Oh my goodness. It's an ancient game. Alright, Space Invaders. We'll see if it's actually different from the arcade game, but it has been decided. But yeah, if you're still here watching, you're awesome. Thank you, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, or maybe even drop a subscription to the channel. Or you could even click one of these other videos that are on screen right now. And yeah, see you next time.